Everyone reaches for a banana when they think about potassium. It's the fruit with the reputation. The one nutritionists always mention first. The one that ends up in every list of foods rich in potassium. But walk out into a garden, past the fruit trees, right down to the herb bed, and you'll find plants that quietly outclass it. Some by a little, some by a lot. Today we're counting down 12 garden herbs that carry more potassium than a banana, gram for gram. Starting with the familiar, and ending with a plant so rich in this mineral that gardeners have used it as fertilizer for centuries, long before anyone thought to eat it. Potassium isn't just another item on a nutrition label. It helps regulate fluid balance inside every cell, supports steady muscle contraction, including the heart's own rhythm, and plays a role in keeping blood pressure within a healthy range. It works quietly in the background the way most essential minerals do. You rarely notice it until something is out of balance. Most people associate all of that with a single yellow fruit. But herbs, ounce for ounce, are some of the most concentrated plant sources of potassium there are. They're also some of the easiest things you'll ever grow, most of them thriving in nothing more than a sunny windowsill box or a small corner bed. Let's dig in. Number 12 is chives. This slender, onion-flavored herb grows in tidy clumps and adds a mild bite to almost any dish, from a baked potato to a bowl of soup. A modest handful of fresh chives holds a noticeably higher potassium count than the same weight of banana, and it comes bundled with a dose of vitamin K as well. Chives have been grown in kitchen gardens for thousands of years, valued as much for convenience as for flavor. You snip what you need, and the plant simply keeps producing. In the garden, chives are a full-sun perennial, easy to start from seed or by dividing an existing clump, and they thrive undisturbed in the same spot for years. Once established, all they need is regular trimming to keep the leaves tender and encourage new growth. Number 11 is fennel, specifically the leafy fronds, not just the bulb most people picture. Fennel greens carry a soft licorice note and a potassium content that edges past the banana benchmark, along with a long history as a digestive aid in traditional practice. In the garden, fennel wants full sun and deep, loose soil to support its long taproot. It's worth planting it away from dill and other herbs in the carrot family. They cross-pollinate easily, and the seedlings can lose their distinct flavor. Let a few stems flower late in the season, and the fronds will keep producing right up until frost. Number 10 is cilantro, known as coriander once the leaves mature and the plant sets seed. This herb has long been used in traditional kitchens across the world, valued for both its bright flavor and its mineral density. Fresh cilantro leaf holds meaningfully more potassium than an equal weight of banana, and traditional herbalists have also turned to it for its mild, soothing qualities. It's a cool weather crop. Planted in early spring or fall because heat causes it to bolt and turn bitter within days. Succession planting every few weeks, spacing new rows about 15 centimeters apart, keeps a steady supply of tender leaves all season. Number 9 is parsley, the herb most people treat as a garnish and nothing more. That's a mistake. Parsley is dense with potassium. A small bunch can rival or exceed what's found in a whole banana, and it carries a long tradition of use as a digestive tonic, taken after heavy meals. It grows best in rich, well-drained soil with partial to full sun, and as a biennial, it will often survive a mild winter and come back the following spring, ready to flower and seed. Thin young seedlings to about 20 centimeters apart and harvest from the outer stems first so the center keeps producing. Number 8 is mint. Beyond its cooling flavor, mint carries a potassium level that comfortably surpasses the banana, and it has centuries of tradition behind it as a settling herb for the stomach after eating. This is the plant that taught generations of gardeners a hard lesson about containment. Mint spreads through underground runners and will take over a bed if left unchecked. Grow it in a container or bury a barrier deep in the soil and give it partial shade with consistently moist ground. Cut it back hard through the growing season, and it rewards you with fresh, tender leaves right through to autumn. If you want to keep learning which plants can support your health, subscribe. There's a new one every week. Number 7 is sage. Fresh sage already beats the banana on potassium, and dried sage concentrates that mineral even further, since removing the water leaves the nutrients behind in a smaller volume. Sage has a long herbal reputation. Historically steeped as a soothing tea for the throat and used to season rich foods that needed a little help digesting. It's a woody perennial that prefers full sun and soil on the drier side. Once its roots are established, it tolerates drought far better than most herbs in the garden, sometimes going weeks without rain and barely showing it. Prune it back each spring to keep the plant from turning leggy and woody at the base, and it will reward you with soft new growth within a few weeks. Number 6 is dill. This feathery herb, so often paired with pickling and fish, holds a potassium content well above the bananas, and it's been used traditionally to ease digestion after a heavy meal. Dill grows fastest with full sun and sandy, well-drained soil, and it doesn't like being transplanted. So direct sow the seeds about 30 centimeters apart, right where you want it to stay. Let a few plants go to flower each season. The seeds are just as useful as the leaves, and self-sown seedlings will often return the following spring on their own. Number 5 is oregano. Dried oregano in particular is one of the most potassium-dense herbs a home cook will ever handle. The drying process concentrates what was already a solid mineral profile in the fresh leaf, alongside compounds long studied for their properties. In the garden, oregano wants full sun and lean, well-drained soil. Rich soil actually softens its flavor. It spreads readily by runners, so plant it where a little wandering is welcome, or keep it contained in a bed of its own. Trim it back after flowering, and it will push out a fresh flush of leaves within weeks. Number 4 is lovage, a herb that's fallen out of fashion but shouldn't have. Its flavor sits somewhere between celery and parsley, and its potassium content is substantial. A plant historically valued in old kitchen gardens as much for its mineral richness as for its taste. Lovage is a hardy perennial that can grow well over a meter tall in rich, moist soil. Give it partial shade in hot climates and space plants at least 60 centimeters apart, since the roots and leaves both spread with age, and it will return reliably, bigger every year, often outliving the gardener who first planted it. Number 3 is sorrel, the tangy lemon-flavored green that's been foraged and cultivated for generations across Europe and beyond. Sorrel's potassium level runs high enough to make it one of the more overlooked mineral sources in the whole garden, prized historically for its sharp, refreshing bite in early spring soups. It grows best in partial shade with consistently moist soil, and it's a perennial, though it benefits from having its flower stalks cut back early, which keeps the leaves tender instead of bitter and encourages a longer harvest window. Number 2 is stinging nettle. Yes, the plant most people avoid touching. Once cooked or dried, nettle loses its sting entirely, and what's left is a leaf traditionally used for centuries as both food and remedy, prized in part for how much potassium and iron it holds. Nettle thrives in rich, moist soil with partial shade, and it spreads easily once settled, often colonizing a whole corner of a garden on its own. Always wear gloves when harvesting, and gather the young leaves before the plant flowers, when they're at their most tender and mildest in flavor. This is only the first seed of what this garden holds. Subscribe and grow with us. And number 1, comfrey. This is the plant gardeners have relied on for centuries, not primarily as food, but as a natural fertilizer, precisely because its leaves accumulate such an extraordinary amount of potassium drawn up from deep in the soil. Steeped in water for a few weeks, comfrey leaves produce a dark, strong-smelling liquid feed that growers have used to strengthen fruiting plants long before synthetic fertilizers existed. A tradition still practiced in organic gardens today. Comfrey has a deep taproot that pulls nutrients other plants simply can't reach, and it grows in full. Sun to partial shade, tolerating soil that would leave most herbs struggling. Plant it carefully, at least a meter from other beds. It spreads through its roots and is notoriously difficult to remove once it settles in. 12 herbs, 1 mineral, and a garden that's been holding the answer the whole time. From the mild bite of chives to the deep-rooted power of comfrey, potassium was never limited to a single yellow fruit. It's been growing quietly in backyard beds for as long as people have kept them, long before anyone thought to compare the two. If there's one thing this list makes clear, it's that the most overlooked corner of the garden is often the most valuable one. The herbs sitting closest to the kitchen door, the ones treated as an afterthought, turn out to be some of the most nutrient-dense plants you can grow at all. Plant even a few of these. Give them the sun, soil, and space they ask for, And you're not just adding flavor to your kitchen. You're growing one of the richest sources of potassium nature has to offer, right outside your door, ready to harvest whenever you need it.